I was recently watching this video of this person talking about how, essentially complaining about the American political system. Okay, and this person brings up the fact that, or the apparent fact, at least, that the Democratic Party and the Republican Party are both right-wing parties, and they bring up the fact that on an international level, both of them would be considered right-wing. Now, in the United States, no, the Republican Party is considered right-wing, and the Democrat Party is considered left-wing, and there's reason for which American politics seems to be slanted more towards the right. We have things like the Red Scare. We have, the Cold War, McCarthyism. All of these things come together and contribute to the fact that things are leading more right. But this person doesn't speak about any of those things, and I won't either. This person says that Democrats passively allow movement towards the right. They bring up the fact that Democrats apparently allowed Republicans to appoint conservative justices to the Supreme Court. Apparently, Democrats allowed the Supreme Court to decline to block the Texas abortion bill. In that regard, both of these assumptions are wrong. And this person says that Democratic opposition to the right is merely performative. That's not true. When the Trump administration was appointing these conservative justices to the Supreme Court, Democrats were vividly opposed to these appointments. Democrats at the time didn't have the power to block any of these appointments because Republicans at the time held the majority in the Senate. So saying that Democrats merely allowed this to happen and they were acting like, they were trying to oppose it is stupid, because if you even look at the voting records, most Democrats voted against all of these appointments. The first appointment, which was Neil Gorsuch, he got only 3 Democrats to vote in favor of him. Brett Kavanaugh got 1 Democrat to vote in favor of him, and Amy Coney Barrett got 0 Democrats to vote in favor of her. So making this assumption here is that Democrats are not opposed to, or at least were acting like they weren't opposed to these moves, is ridiculous. Saying that Democrats just allowed the Supreme Court to decline to block the Texas abortion bill is stupid, really. Democrats can't do anything in that regards. Like what they can't. This is the purview of the Supreme Court, and if the Supreme Court decides to say, hey, I'm not gonna block this bill, they can just decide not to block the bill. And the Supreme Court specifically said that they are not deciding the constitutionality of this bill. But this is something these people just leave out of the story whenever they're complaining about how some of their policies that they like aren't getting passed into law. Another major point this person talks about is apparently Democrats just adopt right-wing ideas. And the most recent example this person brings up is the fact that the Joe Biden administration urged OPEC to increase oil production. And apparently, that's a right-wing idea, right? But people who lean rightwards tend to not consider climate change a problem, or tend to say that it doesn't exist. However, the reason behind this request from the Joe Biden administration isn't just because they want oil. The reason behind it is that they want to mitigate price increases in the market, because currently right now gas prices have gone up quite a bit. And if you're not someone who has a nice little budget to work out of, whenever gas prices increase, it starts chewing away from any of the other line items that you might have to spend on when you have a budget, when you're a working class person, when you drive a gas powered vehicle, when you're living paycheck to paycheck. Right? The same people that lefties proclaim to defend and to be in favor of. I understand that we need to work so that we can mitigate climate change, but making the people on the lower end of the stick pay more for gas all of a sudden is not the way you're gonna make these people switch from gas powered cars to EVs or to cars that use alternative fuel. The last point is that apparently Democrats block any movement towards the left. And the point that this person brings up is the $15 minimum wage setback. This person says that because Joe Biden said that he didn't think it was going to pass, therefore he didn't put in enough effort for this to pass, and therefore this ended up being doomed in Congress. Now, that is a very simple way to put it. Extremely simple. Too simple, in fact. If you dig a little bit deeper, you'll realize that he did give off the emotion that he didn't expect this portion of the bill to pass, right? The portion being the amendment increasing the minimum wage to $15. And you dig a little bit deeper, you'll realize that in order for the amendment to have passed in the Senate, which was the place where it ended up failing, they would have needed 3/5 of the Senate, and that would be 60 votes. And if you do a little math, do a little Googling, you'll realize that Democrats hold 50 seats in the Senate. Barely, but 50. Let's put it like that. And Republicans hold 50 votes in the Senate as well. The funny thing is that all 50 Republicans voted against this amendment. Okay? And 8 Democratic leading senators voted against the amendment as well. 58 votes against the amendment, 42 votes in favor. All 42 votes were Democrat votes. So in order for this amendment to pass, you would have needed 60 votes. 50 Democrats, right? So try to manage to get everybody to cooperate so that those 8 Democratic senators would vote in favor of the amendment. Plus, you would need to somehow convince 10 Republicans, okay, to get this amendment passed. It wasn't going to happen. I truly don't believe that was going to happen, right? And saying that Democrats just blocked it from happening is truly, truly disingenuous. And I'll say this. I don't completely hate lefties. I don't completely hate people who advocate for socialism. Some of these ideas seem to be very great ideas. I do dislike, people who are in the current American system who try to go to the far extremes of any of the ideologies, because the public isn't ready for it, right? And you have to realize that even though, you might see that some of these policies are being advocated for, there's a lot of people who just don't agree. So we have to be cautious whenever we approach this stuff, right? Whenever you're talking about, hey, things aren't being done in government, well, why aren't things being done in the government? You can't just say, well, Democrats don't want to get things done. There's a bigger reason behind it, right? There's a big reason why things aren't happening. Right? You could say the system is flawed, but we have to understand why the system is flawed. Well, this is the end of the line. If you liked the video, give it a like. If you disliked it, give it a dislike. If you have anything to say, put it in the comment section. Or you can @ me at either my Twitter or Instagram, both @XterramH. Have a nice one and keep growing.